Welcome to the Casually Fit Podcast. My name's Rob. Thank you for stopping by today. As you can see, or if you can see, if you're watching this, got a new studio or office studio, whatever you want to call it. I'm pumped up for it. This is just the first day of it. I just ran in here, set everything up. Hopefully over the course of a few weeks or however long, just going to make it feel a little bit more homely in here for when I record this podcast. If you have been listening to this podcast, then you know for sure that I have been trying to get these segments out in this new podcast, which I like doing. I like highlighting people who are currently in their weight loss journey. I like showing you those people. I like showing you some good, specific nutritional and fitness advice. And I also like showing you the people who are absolutely killing it. So I love the new segments that I am trying to put out. But unfortunately, with me moving in here, moving out of my place, like my residential place, and dealing with all that, it's just been a very busy few weeks. And especially this last week, I actually just came in here, kind of going to be what the podcast is about. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that this week, even though I really want to do it, there's no segments this week, okay? But 100%, since I'm in here, everything should be fine moving forward. I can now focus on this, and I should have everything out the way at least I want it to come out starting next week. This week, though, because I still want to be a little loose with this podcast. I like having things pretty scheduled out, regimented, however you want to say. But I also I like it loose a little bit. And that's why I just ran in here, set this up, put up the lighting, hooked this thing up, and now I'm recording, okay? And I kind of have an idea of what I want to talk about, but I also want to go on a little journey together, I guess. But I really just want to talk about is because today I am just feeling, so tired, right? I was doing laundry and I was just thinking like, man, it'd be real good to get like a 10-minute nap in right now. And when I was thinking about that, I just thought about, look, when you're trying to lose weight, this is just one of the things that is going to happen. Obviously, like, I'm not trying to lose weight right now. Maybe not, obviously. Maybe I got to lose some pounds, but I'm not trying to lose weight, right? But what I am trying to do is a bunch of other things that require a lot of energy and requires me doing things I haven't done before and requires me showing up every day and committing and all things that you kind of need for weight loss, right? I haven't had to lose, 30, 50 pounds or anything like that. I have had to get myself back in shape from being, for me, very out of shape. I used to run like a 6-minute mile, and then all of a sudden I found myself at like 28 years old or 27 years old, and I swear, like I could not run a block. The block it's embarrassing to say, but it was bad. And as far as lifting weights, my weights or my strength went way down. So I've had to build myself back up from that point, and get into a reasonably decent shape. I'm not in the shape I want to be in right now because of issues with my back, but I've gotten myself in reasonably decent shape, being in I'm still young, right? Still young, but slightly older person, right? Pretty much, I'm 31 years old right now, and just doing things, that require your body. I'm huge into surfing and working out and running, but that does take a toll on your body, and there's a whole bunch of different factors as far as rebounding, like your recovery time is a bit slower when you're older. And why am I talking about this? Oh, basically, look, all right, I've been trying to get better in a bunch of different areas. And one of the things that is constant in all these areas, and which relates to losing weight, this podcast, right, talking about, being fit, is the fact that there are going to be one day, there's going to be, maybe even just an hour, couple minutes, maybe a few weeks or a month, where you're going to be going through multiple times to where you just feel tired, and everything in your mind and body says, hey, just go take a nap, right? Go to sleep. Maybe take a break, take a day off. Don't go into the, if you're relating it to the gym, a bunch of different things will come. You'll start saying to yourself, hey, maybe you're working out too much. Hey, why are you even working out, right? Like, why does it matter? And if you don't have answers for those questions that are more than likely going to come up, then it's very easy to not continue forward with whatever goal it is you're doing. And that is clear with weight loss, right? It's not. There's a bunch of different factors that comes into the crazy statistic that if you listen to this podcast, you'll hear it more and more. But 80% of people, after 5 years of trying to lose weight, 80% of people fail. And it's just amazing. That's an amazing statistic. And that has gotten my brain just wrapped around, like, why is that such a high rate? And there's a lot of reasons for that, right? There could possibly be your genes, right? It could possibly be, 20 years of bad habits, 30 years of bad habits. It could be, maybe you gotten yourself to a point to where it hurts too much to move. And it hurts so much that you can't move, right? So, and that's what's stopping you from losing weight. There's addiction to food. There's all sorts of things, right? And one of those things, I believe for sure, is being able to, even though there's all these other factors, and sure, you can go out and you can find reasons for why you shouldn't be continuing forward, whether you're tired, you're sick, whatever it is, you can find a reason, right? You can find a reason to do basically anything, good or bad. If you think long enough, you're going to find a reason. So I just looked at the camera and it threw me completely off. All right. But you're going to find reasons when you're trying to lose weight, and you need to understand that this is what I want to talk about. You need to understand that this is going to happen 100% for sure. I think a lot of people, when they first start off to lose weight, they're in like a kind of like a euphoric state, right? They're going around like, this is all good, this is great, I'm changing my life. If you've ever been at a bar and you're just your regular bar, you're playing some pool, and then your friend comes by, freaking Johnny over there, and Johnny's the guy or girl, whatever, Johnny or Jane. Either one of those are the ones who, they feel like they want to change their life, they want to do something, and once they realize that, they come into the bar and they're just talking your ear off, saying that this is going to be amazing, it's going to be great, my life's going to change. They're flipping people off in the bar, they're not paying their bar tab, they're like, everything's changing, right? And then what happens, usually, you check back on Johnny or Jane and, name a time. A couple days, couple weeks, couple months, usually not more than a couple months, and whatever they thought was going to change their life, they changed their mind on it, right? And I think that's because a lot of people kind of go into this euphoric state, and when you're in that euphoric state, any negatives or any just not positive ideas and thoughts about whatever it is you're trying to do, that just kind of gets ignored and kind of gets pushed away. So you're just thinking it's going to be great. And just like with weight loss, you just think you think you're going to change your life, which for sure, you will change your life. But you think you're going to change your life and that it's going to be relatively easy, or it's going to be seamless, or you can have the whole entire plan. You can be like, this is how many calories I'm going to eat per day. This is when I'm going to eat. This is what I'm going to eat. I'm going to cook it this day. I'm going to work out at this time. I'm going to leave my house at this time to make it to the gym at this time, to be there for 30 minutes. I'm going to do this workout, that workout. You can have the entire thing scheduled out to where all you have to do is just show up, which honestly, that's the way I kind of do it, and I would suggest doing it. Have the whole entire thing scheduled out so you just show up. But you can have that whole entire thing to where you just need to show up. But one of the hardest things to do is to show up. And then once you get showing up down, then you're like, now I got to put out every time. And you don't have to do one and then the other, but they're kind of going together at the same time. It's just it's just a constant battle. And what I'm trying to say is that if you're in that euphoric state, you might not realize that there are some things ahead. Like, it's going to be difficult to show up, right? There's going to be like, if you haven't been working out ever, right? And maybe not the first workout and the second workout, but let's say you're on your third workout and you went from not working out for like 5-10 years and now you're on your third workout. You've already done 2 workouts where you maybe were doing some running or far walking or something like that. Maybe you were doing leg press and lifting weights and doing jumping jacks or things like that. And you did those 2 days in a row, and then you're on your third day. Well, that third day is going to suck, right? All that euphoric kind of thing, it's mostly going to be gone, right? And it might not be for everybody. It's kind of different. It could be the first day, it could be the first hour, or it could be the third day or third week or third month. Whenever everything kind of catches up, right, to where your body, maybe it's just all kind of lines up to where your body's really hurting that day. Something at work's happening for you, and maybe you're short on funds, or you ran out of gas or something, or everything just kind of lines up to where it's like, hey, I need to take a break today. And sometimes that's okay, take a break, but most of the time it's not going to be a time to take a break. All right, again, you can find any reason to take a break, and so what I'm just trying to say is that it's freaking hot. Usually I'm just freezing in here from the past couple days of me being in here, and now I'm hot. All right, maybe it's the lights. It's freaking bright in here. All right, yeah, and that's all I wanted. I mean, that's just something that I think people need to get their head around. And some people are going to listen to this and they're going to think, well, of course, Rob, this is one of the things that everybody knows. And I would say that it is like an of course kind of thing from my perspective, but it's not really an of course kind of thing for other people, I don't think. I don't think, again, I don't think there's too much, there's thought that goes into losing weight for a bunch of people, but I don't think there's enough because if you know that something difficult is ahead of you, I think it's much easier to get past it if you know it's ahead. You can kind of mentally prepare yourself, or you can start thinking about different ways that you can get over it if you know it's coming up. And if you don't know it's coming up, again, you can still get over it, but if you get a surprise difficulty, I think for a lot of people, that's usually where it catches them off guard, and then they clam up, or they just go the other way, right? Or that's begins their descent down or away from losing weight. I think that's what's happening with a lot of people. Again, there's a whole bunch of different factors that come into this thing, but I think that's one of the factors is some people are getting caught off guard. And I would just hope that whoever's listening to this or watching this, I would just hope you understand that maybe if you are just beginning or you have just begun and you're kind of dealing with the grind. As they say, the word the grind is overused and overplayed, and I hate it, but it is like a grind, right? If you think of two gears just grinding together, maybe they're, the engines behind the gears, both the gears are just barely moving along, and they got gears, and maybe they got some oil in there that's just sludgy oil. It's just thick oil, it can barely go through. Maybe there's not enough pressure in the engine, it's not causing enough power, and these gears are just grinding along, right? When you know what I'm talking about, how that feels, then you know that you're on the right track, you're on the right path. And this isn't, I would say for everybody out there, look to working out to like create that feeling, just so when you're just kind of rolling with it, you're just kind of going, and you're getting it done. You're getting what needs to get done. But not only look there, but I would say to look into other areas of your life, because I think for the fitness people, the people who are putting out information, trying to help people out, or trying to sell workout programs, whatever it is, I think they're getting lost in I get distracted very easily. All right, I was just looking at my whiteboard. I started reading a bunch of things on the whiteboard, and I'm sorry. All right, I'm sorry, but it's freaking it's late on, what day is it? Tuesday? It's late on Tuesday. Apologize, right? I was on to a certain path. Let me talk. Oh, it's so bad. All right. It's freaking hot. But yeah, the problem, I think, what I was saying, you have personal trainers who talk about the grind, but they're only talking about in fitness, and they almost look at the people that are in there who just might not be in shape, who are like, these people don't know what a grind is. These people don't know how to grind. They don't know what I'm talking about. And I think that's not the case for a lot of people, right? There's, a lot of people in managerial positions, in high up vice presidents, CEOs, those people aren't all in shape, right? You got people even just anywhere, any hierarchy system in work. You're going to find people that are not in shape but have achieved a lot in those areas. And when you achieve a lot, you really just, excluding the very small percentage of people that just get things handed to them, right? It's not that many people, but it does happen. But for a lot of people who achieve anything, whether it's working out or getting a job title or getting a degree, like getting a chemical engineering degree, you have to grind as well. You have to put in the time to study. You have to put in the time of showing up late to work. Or not late to work. Don't show up late to work. Show up early to work and leave late. You got to talk to the boss. You got to talk to all these other people. You got to read these manuals. You got to really dial it in. And some of those things, for some people, it just comes easy. And you don't even really notice it. But if you take a step back, you'd be like, hey, well, I'm actually spending 12 hours a day doing that, right? Or doing this. And that is a type of grind. It's not like, and even in there, even if you still like to do something, you're still going to have those times or those moments where it is going to be grinding together, and it's going to be pretty difficult to get through for either the moment or the day or whatever it is. So I would just say, look at the other areas in your life and see if there is something you achieved before that took a lot of effort, that took a lot of focus, and took a lot of time. And just, kind of study that and just look at that event, that time, or multiple times. And I would warn you to not pull from the past and prop yourself up from pulling from the past. I wouldn't say to inflate your ego or anything like that, But I'm saying to look in the past to see what lessons could possibly be learned, and be like, oh well, or even to like put yourself back into that state of mind, be like, oh well, I was very focused, and just remember and think about like how focused you were. What were you doing and what weren't you doing back then? And just so you could just maybe kind of get a little spark, just refresh a little bit, and then apply that straight over to working out. And then if you're able to do that, right, and if you're able to get these concepts down, which I think, they're very simple concepts, but if you're able to fully understand them and graph with them, I think you'll just be able to handle all the bullshit, right? I think it's you're not gonna handle it every time, all the time, but I think you're gonna handle it a lot better than you would if you're not looking out for it, right? If you're just ignoring things, if you're just saying it's gonna be sunshine and rainbows out there, and again, some people pull through that way, right? Some people pull through that way. I would say that the ones who do look like it's just sunshine and rainbows all the time, I would say that, if you check back with them in a year from now, usually those people, the ones who don't go through or feel too much struggle, maybe it's not the case. Again, if somebody really likes what they do, then again, it's not really going to feel like too much of a grind. But I think if you're somebody who's extending in areas that are not very familiar with you, you're always going to go through some sort of grind. And I'm talking about overusing that word, and I've overused it in this podcast for sure. But yeah, has it been 23 minutes, 24 minutes right now, and it's not very long. But I want to see, is there anything else? I mean, that's all I wanted to say. Again, I think it's a simple concept. So, again, many of you might be sitting there like, what is this guy talking about? It's like, of course. But again, I just don't, if you're somebody out there who's hasn't really heard like, hey, it's great you're going to lose weight, want you to succeed, and since I want you to succeed, you need to see this coming up, all right? It's like if you had a family driving a van and they were cruising in the middle of the desert and you're going the opposite way that they're going, and you actually just came from the Grand Canyon, your back's to the Grand Canyon, and they're about to book it past you, I mean, wouldn't you stop the van, right? If it looked like they didn't know that there's a Grand Canyon behind you, wouldn't you try to stop them? Be like, hey, there's a big ass freaking hole right there. Right? It's huge. Evel Knievel jumped it in one spot, but that's the right here, that's the deeper spot, and that's the wider spot. So when I would just, that's the way I look at it, is I'm just like, hey, everything's good, keep trying to lose weight, but you need to see these things, right? And you need to start thinking about these things a little bit, and not really thinking about like, oh my God, being tense about it and anticipating the moment, being tense and anticipating it like that, and just obsessing over just how that moment is going to feel and all that. Instead of doing that, I would say, see the possibilities, just glance at that. You don't need to spend time saying to yourself, this is going to suck. You might just look at it one time and say, hey, this is going to suck because of this, right? And then spend the rest of your time, put your focus on why you are doing these things, all right? Put your focus on, put your interest in you performing better in these things. Like, another thing, I don't think if you're going to be trying to lose weight, I don't think you should be, maybe a little bit, because I get it. If you're overweight and you want to look a certain way, and a huge motivation for you is appearance and looking a certain way, I get that for sure. If that's one of your goals, if that's what you want to do, whatever. All right, that's what you want to do. If that's your reason, that's your reason. But I think there's a history of a lot of people having that reason, and I don't think it typically ends up good. Okay, so I would just say, start off as early as possible to be like, yeah, I would, because if you're trying to lose 100 pounds, I mean, you're going to look different, right? So if you want to look a certain way, you got to lose that much weight. All power to you. I'm not saying anything bad about that. But I'm just saying also, maybe more so, I would for sure suggest in the long term, this should overtake your reasons, but you should also be focusing on the performance and how well you're doing. If you're doing squats, right, maybe you don't want to, be able to squat 800 pounds one day, but maybe you want to be able to squat, 250 pounds like 10 times or 15 times or 20 times, right? Something to where you're not trying to get huge or anything and be a freak at all, but you still want to be more conditioned and have more endurance. I would say start focusing on those areas, right? Because if you're only squatting 80 pounds right now and you can only do it 8 times or something like that, I mean, that's a lot of room. And that's a lot of areas that you can focus on, and that could take over. That can help you move forward, because you're just going to be like, well, I want to get to here, and then you just backtrack from there, and you just go, well, how do you squat 250 pounds? Well, I got to squat 80 pounds. I got to squat it, I got to do 4 or 5 sets, and I got to raise the weight every other set or every set, and I got to have this incorporated into my weekly workout program for 3 weeks or 3 days a week. And then I got to do all these other exercises to complement it as well. And then, that's just for one workout. And all of a sudden you have 3 days of the week that you're working out to help in your squat, right? And so I just think that can help you stick with it, because that's the biggest thing, it seems like, is people just aren't really sticking with it. A lot of people try to lose weight and they try to work out and they try a diet, but they don't stick with it. Again, 80% of people don't stick with it. So again, one of the ways that people 100% for sure fall off is because, again, they get kind of, sideswiped by some bullshit. Just a tough day or a tough couple of days, and they just get sideswiped with that, and they don't recover from it. Maybe they'll try to work out again sometime down the road, but they've kind of wasted all that other time in the middle. So I think it's better to just, again, don't focus on the negatives, just focus on the positives that can help get you through the negatives, and then just be ready for it, so you don't get caught off guard and get freaked out about the whole situation. Because again, you could be the most motivated person right now to lose weight. You can have you can be at the highest high right now, and you're probably not even listening. Those people haven't made it this far in this podcast. All right, that's the problem. Okay, once I start talking about a couple negative things, or like, hey, watch out for this, they're gone, deuces, right? And again, I just think the percentage of people who can go through that way, right, without looking too far ahead, the percentage of people that can do that and succeed and keep on going, very small percentage of people. Not saying it's not you. I'm just saying statistically, most people, it's not how it works out. But yeah, that's this podcast. Again, I apologize for the no segments and being in a new area, and the sound's probably garbage. I don't have any soundproofing up right now. I'm actually talking quieter, I guess, than usual. But so we'll see what this sounds like, and we'll see if my camera's recording, because I don't think it is. So this might just be an audio only podcast, right? But I promise you, next week is going to be superb, all right? But I appreciate everybody who's listening. Really appreciate it. I have a free workout program for people if you're just starting to work out. Gyms are starting to open. If you're like, what am I going to do? What weights to use? What should I do to slowly build myself up? How do I get into the gym and not just do some stupid workouts? Go to the First Step Workout Program. It's on my website. It is free. And I also have like little hyperlinks to all the workouts that I put in there, and you can see how to do the workouts if you don't know how to do them. And it's a program that slowly raises you up and progresses you through. It really focuses on kind of getting out the kinks a little bit, just getting you a little loose, and then slowly building a foundation, a strength and endurance foundation, and just layering on top over time. And that's the workout program. And I think if you do that workout program for an extended period of time with a good diet, it has diet suggestions on there as well, nothing crazy. But I think for sure over time, that's how you're going to lose weight. But yeah, appreciate you watching. Adios.